Hey everybody, hope you're doing well today. In this video, we are going to take a look at exactly what is gross domestic product. Well, here we go. Let's take a look at GDP and understanding exactly what it is. And I think the best place to start off with is a simple definition so you know exactly what it means. All right. Gross domestic product. Gross domestic product. Gross domestic product is the most commonly used measure of a country's national income. What does that mean? It is a way of measuring how much money firms make in a particular domestic location. And the key term here is domestic. And you probably have already felt this. Sometimes people get confused between gross domestic product and gross national product. But it's not really that complicated. Gross domestic product is talking about exactly what is happening in a domestic location, which means on a map. If you just think of the world as a set of domestic economies, then you understand that gross domestic product is a calculation of the country's total income inside a domestic location, inside a country, regardless of where the companies that operate in that country are from. So, for example, I live in Santiago, Chile, and in Santiago, which is a very vibrant country in very vibrant city here in South America, you can go to the mall and you're going to see Patagonia, you're going to see Merrell, you're going to see Nike, you're going to see Adidas, you're going to see Doite, which is a Chilean company. You're going to see Gap. You're going to see Guess Jeans. You're going to see all of the name brands that you might find in any mall in a fully developed nation on this planet. Those countries or those firms are from the United States, or they're from Chile, or they're from Germany in the case of Adidas, or maybe even you can go like outside of that and you see like a Toyota dealership, which obviously goes to Japan. And all of the economic and transactions that happen in Chile would count towards what? Towards the gross domestic product of Chile, regardless of if it's Nike, which is a U.S. company, Adidas, which is a German company, Toyota, which is a Japanese company. All of those economic transactions are going to be counted for the gross domestic product of Chile because they happen in a physical location, which is here in Santiago, Chile. Okay? So, gross domestic product. Another definition might be that gross domestic product may be defined as the total of all economic activity in a country, regardless of who owns the productive assets, which is a fancy way of saying what I just explained. Okay, an example is like Nike, which is a multinational corporation working in China. If you're counting China's gross domestic product, then the sales of Nike in Beijing would count towards China's GDP, not the United States, okay? So GDP has to do with physical location, gross domestic. Your house is a domestic location, all right? Your domestic environment is your house. So just remember that. You live in a country, and all the economic activities happening in your particular country counts towards your country's GDP, regardless of where the companies are from. Now, one thing I want to add is like, okay, so how do you calculate this? Okay, well, gross domestic product equals C plus I plus G plus X minus M. Say that again. C plus I plus G plus X minus M. Say that again. C plus I plus G plus X minus M. Okay, this equation right here is something that you need to study and study and study and study and study and study again, okay? Because this is how you are going to calculate GDP, which you're going to see in a second, is also the aggregate demand of a particular country, okay? So the C equals consumption, which is the total spending by households on goods and services. So that's stuff you buy and I buy. The I stands for investment, which are the investments firms make in new capital or that households make in real estate and homes. So investment has to do with things that are built using loans from banks, right? Most firms go to a bank, get a loan, and build a particular factory or something, okay? So investment, in the simplest way, you can kind of think of it as just like spending by firms, okay? The G stands for government spending, which is the spending government does on public goods, okay? So this is the stuff that you and I buy. This is the investment is the stuff, the money the businesses spend. And government spending, of course, is the money that governments spend. Okay, so C plus I plus G, and then there's X, which stands for exports, minus M, which stands for imports, which is the spending of foreigners on goods produced in our country, those are exports, minus the spending of domestic consumers make on goods produced abroad. That's kind of a complicated way of saying something that's really simple. You know, if somebody is going to buy some Chilean wine, then they are going, and they're in the United States, they're going to send that money to Chile, and then that money is going to count towards what? The gross domestic product of Chile, because the money is entering Chile, okay? Now, what about a Chileno who is going to buy maybe a backpack from Patagonia, which is actually like buy it online, so they're not actually making the purchase here in Chile, right? They're going online and they're buying a book. Don't make it at Patagonia. Make it Amazon. They buy a book from Amazon, and Amazon sends the book here to Chile. That is going to be an import. But where did the money go? Outside the country. So X minus M, the net of this, plus G, plus I, plus C will equal GDP. And the thing is, and this is getting a little bit ahead of ourselves, but what I want you to know also is that GDP equals the aggregate demand of a particular country, okay? So here's the thing, and we'll get into this you can get into this a little bit more as you go through your studies of aggregate demand. But G or C plus I plus G plus X minus M is the same way of calculating aggregate demand in a particular country, because GDP equals aggregate demand. And if that's not totally clear to you right now, that's totally cool. Hold on to that. And when you get to your studies of aggregate demand, you will realize that GDP, which equals C plus I plus G plus X minus M, is also equal to aggregate demand, which is the total expenditures in a particular country. And if you think about it, the definition for GDP we just talked about was total expenditures in a particular country, whether it be by households, consumption, firms, investment, government in their government spending, or the net of imports minus exports, or exports minus imports rather, and you end up with all economic activity that happens in a particular domestic location, and that is GDP, and wait for it, that's also aggregate demand. Well, there you have it, a look at gross domestic product, one of the things that is fundamental to your understanding of macroeconomics. It's never going to go away, so congratulations on taking a look at this video. As you know, my name is Brad Cartwright, and on this channel you will find over 300 videos covering the entirety of microeconomics, macroeconomics, international economics, development economics, and theory of the firm, which means that if you are an IB, AP, A-level, or university student anywhere on this planet, this channel is perfect for you. All right, my friends, be good to one another out there. Be good to yourself too. And we'll talk to you in a bit.